Tuesday evening, time for a little Toy Tuesday. Tonight we're going to do some signs. Glad you guys stopped by tonight. Check out a few things, hang out for a bit. Stop by, spend a little bit of your Tuesday evening with us here. Tonight we're going to check out a few things that I've actually had laying around for a while. I bought this stuff last spring. We just hadn't stopped and got it worked into an episode yet. So, in fact, some of the stuff you guys have been asking about, so excited to bring it to you tonight. Tonight we've got a few Mopar pieces as well as a pretty good sized, really early Kansas highway sign that we got from our friend Tim. You guys know him as Mr. Good Pliers. So kind of some interesting stuff tonight, kind of a pretty wide variety tonight, even though it's just a few pieces, but they're kind of all over the board. None of it's really related. So Jim stopped by tonight. Glad you made it, Jim. But first off, I suppose we'll start off with the completely non-car related piece. However, I bought this at a Mopar swap meet earlier this spring, probably in April. Some of you guys saw it in the video as a glimpse of it. Number one made it that after I got the truck unloaded back from that trip when we hit that swap meet. I know some of you guys have been asking for it, ready to see it. So here it is. And it's really cool. I was kind of excited about it. A lot of you guys would probably like to have one. It would probably make you miserable, but it would be pretty cool if you had Pete's here, your own 30-inch long Snickers bar. Yes, I know some of you guys have been asking about this, have been wanting to check it out. Well, here it is, the oversized Snickers bar. This is some sort of display piece. I don't know where it came from or what it was actually used for when it was new. But when I saw it laying there, I was like, I do like signs. I do like Snickers. It's kind of a cool piece. Pappy's here. Bill Wagaman made it. It is plastic. Backside is open, so it could hang. It had some sort of an attachment here that's been cut off. Mark made it. And it also had some sort of an attachment back here, which is gone. This end shows the creamy caramel, nougat, and peanut filling. And this side still looks like it's in the wrapper. I don't really know how old it is. It does appear to have some age to it. But, you know, anymore, some age to it could be 90s. You know, kind of crazy to think. But still pretty cool. It's about 30 inches from here to here, the bulk of the bar. And just kind of a different, neat display piece. Dan from Defiance. So there it is. You guys have been wondering about it, wanting to check it out. The oversized, gigantic, plastic Snickers bar sign. And like I told you, it's about 30 inches long. Bill's ready for a Snickers, yep. And about 7 inches high. Yeah, I put that in a trick-or-treat bag. So 30-inch long, 7-inch high Snickers bar. Take you a while to gnaw on that thing. But it would be good. It'd be a good time. So, there it is finally. I've been promising you guys we were going to get it worked in. Finally got it in tonight. Now, at the same swap meet, I picked up a Mopar sign, and I thought I had one. In fact, I had a guy try to buy this for me right after I bought it. I bought it with a big load of Mopar stuff, most of which is still piled right there, actually, because I haven't even sorted through the parts yet. And that was 6 months ago. So I got to get on that stack. Some really cool new old stock stuff in there as well. But he had this sign there, and this actually came from the same guy that I got the Chrysler oil cans from, a guy I used to work for with Chrysler. And he had this Mopar Express Lube sign. This is actually a service drive sign on a stand. So you could sit it out in your service drive for Mopar Express Lube. Now, the sign itself, just to give you guys an idea, 24 by 16. And like I said, right after I bought all this stuff, I had a guy that wanted to buy this sign. And I thought, well, I need to see if it's better than my other one. So I didn't want to sell it. Fortunately, I did not sell it because it is actually slightly different than my other Mopar Express Lube sign. This one has had arrows on it. And these look like they may have been added to it Don't know. But I've got the same sign, only this one has arrows on it for Mopar Express Lube. Jeff from Ottawa, Neil's here. Now, a lot of people will look at this sign and some of this other stuff that I've been gathering up like this, say that's not that old. Well, depends on how you want to look at it. This is probably 90s era stuff. Now, for me, I personally love the 90s era Mopar stuff. A couple reasons. One, that's when I worked there. I started with Chrysler May of 97 straight out of college and worked there for about almost 5 years. So this era of stuff is what I remember when I worked there. Plus, and there again, even though people don't think like it looks like it's all that old, there's still some pretty cool stuff from that era, like that right there. That is all the same era as the memorabilia that I would want to go with my Viper. So for me, I think it's super cool. Shopcat made it. Kenny's here. Glad you guys all stopped by tonight. So even though a lot of people would look at that and say, well, that isn't that old, I'm excited about it. I'm glad to have it, and I will buy any of that stuff I can find. Not only is it just my Viper, but like I said, that's when I worked for Chrysler. I still got my 02 Cummins that I ordered. I ordered it right after I quit, actually, because I had free ones for company trucks, so I didn't need to order one when I worked there. But about 6 months after I quit, I did order and still have another Cummins, an 02, which was the last of that 94 to 02 body style. In fact, it was built like May of 02, and they only built those trucks up through June of 02 of that 94 to 02 body style. So the one I've got was within the last 60 days of production of that iconic body style. So I've also still got that pickup. So I've I've got about everything from that era. I got a Dakota, 97 Dakota, 03 Durango. I've got a Chrysler Sebring JXI convertible. I kind of got, I gathered up most of that stuff from that era. Actually, I've got it stashed around in sheds. Hadn't really thought about that, but the more I think about it, I've kind of got like a pretty good snapshot of most of the products that I dealt with in that era. Kind of crazy that never really hit me that I've got all that stuff at the same time here with this era, but I actually do have a bunch of it stashed. So, yes, did see that, Bill. Did see that Frank Fritz passed away. Never did meet Frank. Never met him one time. Met Mike a couple of times when we did the shoot in Nashville. Obviously, he was there as executive producer that day. And I've met Mike a couple of times. But, I know Robbie fairly well. Robbie is the one that I've always have known the best out of all of them. But, yeah, that is sad to hear about Frank. So, happy birth month to Jess and Chad. I haven't seen her on here yet tonight, but don't get her started. But anyway, we've got one more cool sign to check out tonight. And this is a really unique piece. It is a regional piece for sure. I actually saw these. Somebody found a whole slug, I say a slug of them, 6 or 8 of them, in one batch in eastern Kansas. They had them on Facebook, and I actually saw them pop up. That's right. Chris Christopherson passed away. John Amos passed away. Pete Rose passed away. It's been kind of a rough week for celebrities this week. So it kind of crazy to think about. But this next piece, like I said, I seen these pop up on Facebook. They were all the same. There were a couple of pretty good ones and then a handful of mediocre ones. I didn't have time to deal with them that day, but Tim Stanger, known Tim for years. You guys know him as Mr. Good Pliers. He did go after the load and bought all of them, so I told him after he got them that I wanted one of them. So when I got through there again, like I said, it was 6 months ago. This spring, I was going through his area, and I gave him a shout and said I want to stop by and look at these signs, so he had them out for me. Went through them. We worked out a deal on one, and I was able to bring one home to my own collection. Now, like I said, that's a good point, Shopcat. Lucky for us, none of us are famous. So. It's a kind of a unique piece. It is specifically a Kansas piece. From Tim's research, and what he told me is he believes that this sign was originally used as they were opening I-70 in eastern Kansas in the late 50s. So, Like I said, he researched the time period. I never have. I'm going by what Tim tells me. But Tim's pretty thorough on that type of stuff. When he digs into it, he usually gets in there pretty deep and comes out with some pretty good information. That's true, Bill. I did see that. Jimmy Carter turned 100 today. Former President Jimmy Carter, it was that's a pretty good run. That's a lot of years. So this sign, metal, 3 foot by 6 foot, very unique piece. Definitely a very regional specific piece, but I thought it was pretty cool, and I wanted one for my collection. So here it is behind me. We'll flip around here and take a look at this, a sign of progress. The Kansas Highway Program, please drive carefully, George Docking, Governor. Now, from what Tim found, George Docking was governor in the late 50s. Obviously, the Eisenhower Interstate System project started in the mid-50s. So he thinks that this was probably part of the initial opening of possibly one of the very first sections of I-70 in eastern Kansas as I-70 was being built. Nick's here. Well, yeah, I bet you do dig it, Nick. With what you do working for the highway department, that probably is pretty cool. I hadn't really thought about that. I hadn't thought about you with this. Quite a piece. It is metal. You can see it's got a little bit of rust down here, but it's not rusted away. Got a hole in it, got a few scuffs and scratches. But there again, these weren't supposed to survive. Now on the back, this is a little bit different than what we're typically used to looking at on signs. This actually has a framework as part of the sign. And it is just basic painted tin. 20 to... Even if you add a 0 to your 20, you're still not even in the ballpark of what I had to pay to get one. But it's a unique piece. Like I said, definitely a Kansas piece. Something that was definitely not supposed to survive. Must have just got stashed in a hole somewhere. And pretty cool that it did, because it is just painted tin. But kind of a cool piece. But be sure to check out Shopcat's Cub Cadet. That sounds interesting. So kind of a cool piece. I was excited about it. Like I said, when I seen the whole load pop up, I didn't have time to deal with them. They were 2.5 hours one way for me. Tim had time to run and snag them, so he did. And like I said, fortunately, him and I were able to work out a deal, and I was able to add one to my collection as well. So that's what we've got for tonight. Quick recap for the guys that got here late. A 30-inch Snickers bar. So you guys probably need to go get a Snickers now. Mopar Express Lube service drive sign, and compared it to my other one with arrows on it. There goes the hearts. Love the hearts, guys. As well as the super cool, like I said, Tim thought these were late 50s. So if that's true, that sign's probably 65 years old. Painted tin, that it's miraculous that it survived in that condition. There's Bill Disc. Shopcat's heading to the snack machine as we speak. So, for me, kind of some neat stuff. The Kansas sign, maybe not quite so interesting to some of you guys that aren't from this area, but there again, for me, I thought it was really cool. I know Nick's definitely digging it, but neat piece, and I'm glad I was able to share it with you. A huge shout out to Tim for working out a deal with me. He knew I wanted one pretty bad, but he was still he was still fair with me, even though he knew I wanted one bad. We were able to make the deal work. So anyway, that's what I've got for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed last night's video. Where I was out at my buddy's yard, and they actually had a fire that started on an adjoining property and burned several of his cars. So that wasn't good. Like I said, unfortunately, most of the cars that did burn weren't salvageable anyway. However, still sad to see that happen. So be sure to check that video out if you missed it from last night. Got to get some more new content shot for you this week. Going to try to work on some of that tomorrow. Everything's wrapped up from the auction other than shipping cars. Have probably 10 cars that have to be shipped out yet. But at least almost starting to get back on a normal schedule. So that's a good sign for me. Yep, it is a piece of history. There's no doubt about that. But so that's kind of what I've got going. Like I said, need to get back to work on some of that content. So many vehicles here that we haven't shared with you yet. So I've got to get on some of that stuff. Hopefully tomorrow, get you guys some more new content up. Try to get caught up on a little bit of new inventory. And start working towards the weekend already. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We're already halfway through the week. For me, it's kind of still part of that blur time for me. When when we get around to auction time, I basically lose about 10 days, maybe almost 12 days with what we've got going out there. So just kind of on the tail end of that, which feels good to finally be getting through it. We had a great sale, and huge shout out to you guys that did come out and check it out and enjoyed some time spending some time with us. Mike stopped by from Texas. And, normal, like I said, Brian, normal for me. So hopefully getting somewhat back to normal. We'll see how that works out. But anyway, stay tuned. We'll have some more new content coming up tomorrow night as well as Friday night as we work through the rest of the week and get prepared for Sunday night for some more Sunday night live chat. We sure hope to see you guys then. Swing by 7:30, hang out with us for a while. Last Sunday, we had Austin here, which was a ton of fun. This Sunday, we will be back on a normal schedule. So hope to see you all then. Thanks for stopping by. Spend a little bit of your Tuesday evening with us, checking out some cool signs. I sure hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out some of the other Toy Tuesdays. Check out some of the other cool memorabilia we have on here and all the fun we have with it. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Enjoy your week, everybody. Be safe, and we sure hope to see you all right back here, 7:30 Sunday evening, for some Sunday night live chat. Thanks for watching tonight, everybody.